Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Talking City podcast. I'm Tyrone Marshall, hosting today, joined as ever by Simon Bajkowski. Nowhere else he would rather be on a Friday morning than doing this podcast, even though he's just told us he is not going to be here on Monday. Before we kick off, a word from our sponsors, as always, NordVPN. To get the best discount off your NordVPN, go to nordvpn.com/talkingcity. That link will give you 4 extra months on a 2-year plan. There's no risk as well with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. The details are in the description box. I'm sure there'll be plenty of people overseas at the moment using NordVPN to make sure they can watch the Ryder Cup today, and that is what I'll be doing this afternoon once we've dealt with this and spoken to Pep.
Post-work.
I'm sure Pep would like to watch the Ryder Cup as well. Yeah, I forgot about the work bit. Yeah. Just, if anyone, the bosses are listening, obviously we'll be working as well. But yeah, I'm sure Pep would be keen to watch the Ryder Cup as well, actually, so it might be a
quick press conference.
In fact, the Ryder Cup in New York, I'm surprised he's not there. Surprised he's not given the team to the other Pep, as Divine McCassa called him on Wednesday in the mix zone and has said, sorry lads, I'm off to the Ryder Cup in New York.
He's...
I'm sure Pep Linders and Colo Torre could beat Burnley, couldn't they?
There's no... How dare you? It's disrespect. There's no reason he can't be there for Sunday, I suppose.
He could.
Play Burnley on Saturday.
He could. He was in New York for the tennis recently, wasn't he?
Loves sport,
loves New York, loves golf.
Yeah.
Ticking every box.
Although he might just sort of get Tommy Fleetwood to sort of FaceTime him for the whole...
from the celebrations, hopefully.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is City podcast, not the Ryder Cup podcast.
Yeah.
Better talk about City, I guess. Me and you were in West Yorkshire on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
I mean, it was incredibly routine, wasn't it? One of my, I'll lift the lid on my life here. On the school run yesterday, one of my year 2 child's mates had gone to the game with his dad.
Yeah.
And I said, coming out, did you enjoy the game last night? And he went, not really, it's a bit boring, right? And I was thinking afterwards, I thought for a 6-year-old, it probably was a bit boring. I mean, it was a bit boring for us, wasn't it? Let's be honest. It was routine without being...
It was very routine. I always enjoy those occasions, like City going to a team in the lower divisions. And I always kind of enjoy trips to Yorkshire and West Yorkshire, not just because it's close to my house. Well, just like seeing Donnarumma having been at the Ballon d'Or, just being like subjected to a load of abuse and boos and heckles walking in to Huddersfield was just quite funny, and they must enjoy it too. The players, it's a different experience for them than what they're used to. Yeah. But the game was fairly. The team was as expected and the game was as expected, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, given you like those occasions, you must be delighted to have got Swansea away in the next round. Even at 1-0, I mean, it was a funny sort of game, wasn't it? Even at 1-0, the tie is theoretically not won, yet it wasn't it? It just felt, it never remotely felt in danger.
Well, City did this weird thing where like they had the ball. They had the ball and they kept the ball. Like we're not really used to seeing that from a Pep team, are we? We're used to, whatever they served up at Arsenal and was deemed like this is how they're going to play forever.
We should make his mind up.
Yeah. I think they had 83% possession in the first half. It was just like Huddersfield couldn't get near them. There was a moment, wasn't there, about 70 seconds in when James Trafford nearly handled it outside his area. And then I don't think he did anything else for the rest of the game.
No, not really. Obviously, Huddersfield hit the post late on, didn't it? It kind of felt like Trafford pulled his arms away from that one. But yeah, the only thing he really had to do, they didn't have a shot on target, did they? So very difficult for him to impress. We'll come on to Trafford later. Stop ruining my running on.
Okay, sorry.
I mean, is the lack of goals a concern when you have 75% possession in a game against the League One team?
No, it was. I don't know if this is further ruins your running order, but there were 9 changes, weren't there? Foden and O'Reilly, the only ones. And there were a lot of players in that team who have not played a lot of football, and Savinho got on the score sheet, but was pretty wasteful otherwise and had a lot of the ball and didn't do very much with it at all. And so in those kind of situations, Oscar Bob didn't really do anything on the other side either. He was looked a bit better, but wasn't more effective, basically. And you had an academy player making his debut, leading the line as sort of a 9, false 9. So in those circumstances, you're not really going to get, a team that's in form and running through the goals. I'm sure if the same 11 from Arsenal had played, they would have run up more goals. But as soon as Foden scores early, you're kind of like, this is City are where they want to be.
Yeah. And I mean, that they did control the game brilliantly, didn't they? I loved what Lee Grant said in his press conference where he said, I just had 5 or 10 minutes with Pep Linders, and I mean, Pep Linders basically said to Lee Grant, weren't we good? Like, didn't go in and say, oh, well done, hope you get promoted. You've had a real good fight there. It was like, oh, weren't we good tonight?
Weren't we good? Didn't you make us look better than I thought we'd be? I thought we'd be rubbish tonight, and you made us look brilliant. Look
amazing.
Thanks very much. Yeah. See you next season, hopefully. He said they were a lot better than... Pep Linders said that City were a lot better than he thought they were going to be, didn't he? So,
but it was a lot of control, wasn't it?
But there was a lot of Pep not being happy with players, Pep Guardiola not being happy with players during the game. So there was still plenty of things to improve on for those players. And I'm not sure anyone's kind of nudged the way in for Saturday.
No, well, it was 3 unchanged teams in a row beforehand, wasn't it? And like I say, I don't think it's changed the dynamic.
I mean, somebody will have to come in for Kusanov, but other than, on that showing, I'm not sure it will be Nunes. But then Lewis didn't do anything in midfield either.
No.
So maybe it's
coin flip.
Maybe it's John Stones.
Ooh, could be.
Diaz, Guardiola.
Stones at right back.
Yeah.
Not sure you need Stones at right back against Burnley, but he could move into midfield, I guess, couldn't he?
Yeah.
But then Lewis better doing that.
Yeah.
We'll come on to that when we talk about Burnley, eh?
Let's do that, eh? Yeah.
The one player who was the clear man of the match was Phil Foden.
Yeah.
Goal and an assist. 4 games, 4 starts in a row, 2 goals, 2 assists. Is he definitely back?
He's
looks
back
on it, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I think it's important to say, as we've said, that he's had quite a few false dawns over the last 18 months. But also, I don't know whether you watched the game back when you got home on television. I
obviously
did not. So we're seeing things in the stadium. I don't know if it comes across on telly, but like for us watching in the stadium, just like the way he was always shouting for the ball and demanding the ball to his feet. We just didn't see that last season. He looked like he sort of wanted to blend in and just kind of wanted to get through the game whenever he was on the pitch. Yeah. Whereas now he's saying, I'm going to stand in the middle where I want to be. You give me the ball and I'll make something happen.
Yeah. I think I wrote the other day that last season it looked like when he got on the pitch, he shrank.
Yeah.
And now it looks, when he gets on the pitch, he's twice as big. Doesn't it? It's like, give me the ball, I'm running the show. Whereas last season, there was just like, I think back to the cup final when he came on, there was just nothing, like he didn't want to be there.
Yeah. And it was, as well, it's incredibly impressive to play 4 games in a row in 11 days when those 4 games are United, Napoli, Arsenal, and then a League Cup, and be the best player as well.
Yeah.
And he got a goal and assist against Huddersfield. He got a goal against United. So he's looking very good.
Spectacular assist against Napoli.
Yeah. I'm looking to make changes to my fantasy team, and Philip Foden looks a bit of a shoe-in.
Differential, as I believe they say on the FPL podcasts.
Yeah, he just looks like he's on it and he's involved in goals and assists. But I checked, and I think it was Boxing Day last season when he played 4 games in a row. That was the first time last season he played, and he's done it already now, and we're not even in October yet. So, but also we were at Brighton the end of August, and things looked pretty bleak for him, really. He'd not had anywhere near a good start to the season. I think he played 15 minutes, missed 2 games, left out of the England squad, and coming into that United game, there's loads of questions about him. He said after the United game, didn't he? I've just seen negatives, and you can see why. But what a week and a half for him, because now he just looks ready, locked in basically to that team.
Yeah, definitely. I've said a couple of times this season already, he's the one player that can make a huge difference in what they achieved this year.
Having said that, I do think injuries have helped the team in that, like, not having Cherky fit is obviously a blow, but it's enabled Pep to say, like, Phil, you're playing these 4 games, and he's made it his own, and the same with Doku. And, you know, now players are starting to come back. There's a bit more, you know, will that unsettle things at all?
Cherky's probably a super sub now when he comes back.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of Foden has nailed his status, along with Cherky looking better from the bench.
Yeah.
Calvin Phillips, London and back. London on Wednesday morning to Manchester, back to London on Wednesday night after the game, after Pep had announced the birth of his child and the name to the world's media, all for 7 minutes.
Yes.
But still an important staging post for him. And I thought it was telling that even when he got off the coach, he got booed as soon as he got off the coach, obviously with his Leeds connections. Yeah. But he loved it, didn't he? Like, he was laughing as he went into the stadium, smiling away. And like I say, obviously it's been a huge week for him in his personal life. But great for him to be back on the pitch for the first time in 21 months for City. And, you know, I'm not sure this is the start of a comeback, but I think we're probably going to see him play again before January, aren't we?
It's enormous. Even on Monday, I didn't think I'd ever see him play for City again.
Yeah, well, I said so. I think you might have said it as well, or someone said it. But I said to someone yesterday, if you'd have told me to name the next club that Calvin Phillips played for, I'd have probably named 40 clubs in England and abroad before I'd have named City at the start of the summer.
Yeah. And even on Monday, that's the, like, you know, good job I didn't write that he'd missed the game. He was there. He was asked to come back, and he came back, and he hadn't trained with them the day before either. Like, he's done some training with them, but not loads. He's not been like a full part of the first team, but he was with the first team, and he played in the first team, and he's in the Premier League squad. So, you know, he's potentially an option going forward in the Premier League, which again, I don't think we thought we would say.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. It's going to be interesting to see how that pans out over the next couple of months, because like you say, I think we all thought it was done for him and he'd never play for City again. But he is back, and maybe he'll get a few chances.
But he's also back in like a changed team. Like the team has been so set for years, and he came into it and just didn't fit. Whereas now, I'm not saying he will fit, but it's different in that sort of like, you know, Rodri's kind of back, but he's still got his injury issues. And then, you know, Nico Gonzalez is not fully a 6 and Foden's playing more as a 10. So, you know, maybe he is better for City being slightly different than they were.
Maybe, yeah, possibly so. I mean, Nico Gonzalez is probably his competition. Pep said after the game that he is incredibly coachable. He didn't add, which is a good thing. But you kind of got that vibe, didn't you? I mean, it felt like pretty much everyone had left the stadium by the time Pep finished his post-match coaching debrief with him. And it actually happened I mean, you mentioned before, like, Guardiola not being happy at times during the game. And I think it was only 4 minutes till half time when he called the entire team, including Trafford, over for a big debrief. Then he had 15 minutes with them at half time. Then he came back out the tunnel and he was with Gonzalez doing the big hand signal that just looked so confusing, like giving the instructions. All the other players were back on the pitch. Yeah. And he was stood on the sideline with Gonzalez. And then the game finishes, they go and clap the fans. And I think everyone else had been off the pitch for 2 or 3 minutes. Yeah. By the time Guardiola finished with Gonzalez. Yeah. Which is interesting.
Yeah, it is. It was. I filmed it for like well over a minute, them stood at the touchline, but they'd also been talking in the middle. And it was like, nobody else was in the stadium. It was just like those two. Yeah.
Turned the floodlights off on them.
Yeah.
That went on so long.
Like, Pep got asked about it afterwards and he said, like, Nico Gonzalez wants to learn, he wants to improve, and sometimes it's easier to explain things when you're out on the pitch.
He's done it loads of times before, hasn't he?
Yeah. And someone said to me yesterday, like, does he do it more with midfielders because he played that position? And you think, that's definitely a bit of it, because he feels sort of he don't do it with Haaland as much, saying, oh, you should score this goal, because he wasn't one to score those goals. Yeah. But he understands midfield, but he also knows how sort of central it is to the whole team, and he was saying afterwards that, like, I need Nico to understand. He has to realise that, like, when he did certain things that I asked him to do in the second half, it made a chance for the team every single time. So I need him to recognise that and then to do it more and more and more. But he said he's got the potential and he will do it and he will get better and he wants to learn. So, again, someone said, oh, was it like, did it look like a positive chat or a, and you're like, they never do they?
No, it's like...
When the game's finished and Pep's just like waving his arms everywhere at a player.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when the head teacher's talking to you with animated arms, it's not going to feel like it's positive, innit? No. It's that sort of vibe.
Yeah. But I think it was probably one of those nights for City in general where it was like no one really kind of shone, but there were bits in there that you could take.
Well, I thought Gonzalez's passing was a lot more incisive in the second half, which really gets round to what Pep's saying. There was one moment in the first half where the ball went into him about between 20, 25 yards from goal, and he just played it straight back to Nathan Ake. Guardiola sort of did that thing where he slaps his thighs, and he obviously wanted him to take a touch and look into the area for a pass. Yeah. And it was noticeable in the second half that he created a good chance for O'Reilly that O'Reilly had saved. He put a really good ball in behind for Savinho. He crossed it to nobody. And it felt like he'd kind of taken that on board, and his passing was a lot more incisive second half. Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of the post-match chat could have been, look how much better you were in the second half.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But when it's
just because he's waving his arms around frantically, doesn't mean it's necessarily negative. Like you say, it might have been.
But having said that, when, you know, at the start of the season, when he was like, oh, Kovacic is out and Rodri's out, so he's my only six. It felt like, oh, he's got a real chance now. But now he feels very much kind of back in. He doesn't feel like he's one of the first names on the team sheet at all. And Kovacic is back in training, so it's kind of fresh competition for him there.
Yeah. It still feels like he's got work to do, doesn't it? I think, to fully win.
Although, like, we must remember that he's not a six, and you know, maybe he becomes kind of Reinders' natural competition.
Yeah, possibly so. Mikasa, then let's got a touch on him. Pep having proven he's not Mourinho by playing a false nine and going from one ideology to the other. I mean, across the two games this week, they've averaged 55% possession, I think. So it all looks fine. Yeah, it all looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought he was really, really good, to be honest. Considering, you know, a few of us spoke to him after the game and he said, I've never played as a nine before. And he said, you know, the manager's kind of been working on him as a false nine. He interpreted the role really well, I thought, and looked really neat, really tidy, and looks a really promising player.
Yeah, and it's the sort of role that as a sort of youngster coming into the team, you can just disappear in. And other people do the work and they say, all right, well, couldn't expect much of him. I really like Mikasa. I think he's very good. I think he's very intelligent, and I like that he never goes missing. Like, he makes a difference. He's always looking to do something, and he's just got that knack of being involved in goals. He came on for Haaland in the Palermo friendly, and I think it was a 1-2 with Reinders that set up a Reinders goal there, and then, you know, he doesn't do much, but he does a 1-2 with Foden for Foden's first. I think I like him a lot, and I think we'll see him quite a bit this season.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it feels like, I mean, he's trained with the first team all season. It feels like he's kind of borderline a first team player now rather than an academy player.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I think he will probably drop down for.
I think there'll be games there
youth league games and things like that.
I mean, certainly with Marmoush injured at the moment, he's going to be on the bench on Saturday, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's interesting because he got kept down last year in the academy. They didn't push him up to the 21s as they should have done. He had a second year in the 18s, which is quite unusual at City, but they thought that he needed to play more and get more rhythm and get more confidence, and that's exactly what he did. And, you know, he was the only youngster picked for a pre-season game, and he's now the only one who made a full debut, and he's at the front of the queue to get into that squad.
Yeah, it feels like he's the most advanced, doesn't it, of all of those academy players we saw.
Yeah,
I mean, he was the only one that started, wasn't he? That's the kind of debutants,
and the most advanced in terms of like position in the pecking order, but also kind of like tactically and technically, he looks really, really good. I was sort of not disappointed, but I thought Stefan Mafuni could have played. He's another that is really, really, really good for his age. And I think we will see this season, maybe at Swansea. But
he's very rare. He's left-footed centre-back as well.
Yeah,
centre-back,
yeah.
Pretty rare.
But also kind of like a ball-playing centre-back who is absolutely massive and is good in the air. So, yeah, hopefully we see him. But Mikasa has got the potential where you can see him following, he spoke to you about how Foden's influenced, didn't he? But, following that route.
Yeah, he spoke really well after the game. You can see why academy staff and first team staff talk so positively about him, because he did come across well. And a good night for the Heskey family. We didn't see loads of them, but Regan had a shot on target, I think, towards the end.
Yeah.
I mean, they clearly are players that are going to go back to the academy and will probably play for the 21s this weekend, maybe play in the youth league game at Monaco next week. But still a big moment for them.
Yeah. Jaden was made kind of under 21s captain this time out, but didn't play in the EFL Trophy defeat on Tuesday at Bolton. And Regan was on the bench for it, and then
13 minutes
came on for his first team debut as well. And Regan's obviously trained a bit more with the first team this season, but they're both prospects, and nice for them to get on.
Yeah. Burnley then. Let's move on to Burnley.
James Trafford derby.
Yeah, the James Trafford derby. I disparaged them at the start of this podcast. I probably should apologise.
Yeah.
I did cover Burnley for 5 or 6 years, so if I ever want to be allowed back in Turf Moor, I was only joking.
But then, you can disparage them more than I can disparage them.
That's
for that
true,
reason.
yeah. I'm part of the family.
Yeah.
The James Trafford derby, the Tyrone Marshall derby.
Yeah. Name your kids after Sean Dyche, didn't you?
No. Let's not. I presume he doesn't listen. Let's not get on to Sean Dyche. A game. I mean, they've had a pretty good record against Burnley. There's been some thrashings here against them.
Yeah.
I mean, the way City are playing at the moment, it feels like it should be simple enough.
It should be simple, but Burnley have been decent on their return to the Premier League, as all the promoted sides have been, actually. I think Burnley maybe have the fewest points out of the 3.
Yeah, I think they will.
But that's probably more because Leeds and Sunderland have
done
played
Liverpool,
very well.
Tottenham and Manchester United.
Yes, yeah. Very unfortunate to lose to United. Did they lose to United?
They did. I think they were poor first half and probably lucky to only be 1-0 down, but then were right in the game second half. Unfortunate to lose to Liverpool.
Yeah, they had they lose 3-2 to United, but they had the goal
3-2
ruled out at 2-2 as well. That was very marginally offside, Lyle Foster.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was probably not a debatable penalty, but a silly penalty.
And then very unlucky to lose to Liverpool. It's going to be interesting because obviously the last time City played Burnley, it was Vincent Kompany's Burnley, and they played a very different style. So I think we can probably expect a low block from Burnley, and it will be up to Jeremy Doku and Phil Foden and the likes to break them down. But I think they will pose a threat, and they have. They've scored 2 against United at Old Trafford. They've given Liverpool a really good game. So it might sort of look. It is the game that City need to be winning and should be winning, but it won't be 10-0 as Pep ridiculed for the Huddersfield game.
Yes, he did. I did a Burnley podcast last night, actually. And they said Kyle Walker's been excellent for them the last 2 games. And then said, I presume he'll get a great reception when he goes back. And I said, don't know, to be honest.
No, it's funny because I've seen loads of comments from City fans that have all been pointing out how bad he's looked for the first few games. So maybe that tells you exactly what reception he.
Yeah, I said he certainly won't be De Bruyne levels.
Oh no.
And he'd probably get a better reception externally from fans than internally, perhaps. Hard to say, isn't it? I mean, it did feel like he kind of burnt his bridges.
The City fans are pretty good. Sort of, there was a bit of chanting against João Cancelo, say, when he left in January and then not turned up against him in the Champions League in April. But that was slightly different circumstances. I think it will kind of be like...
It ended badly with Walker, I think, didn't it? Internally, especially.
Yeah.
But
also kind of every interview he's given since he's left has been a car crash in terms of sort of any kind of City legacy, from like saying he'd give up one of his Premier League medals for Tottenham winning, or like just so, and then saying he left for game time, and just stop talking, Kyle, please. I think it will be polite applause, because he was an incredible servant to the club and an incredible part of an incredible team for so many years. But it has turned very sour. Sour is the word I'd use. Both kind of internally and externally. And I made a point the other day on another podcast about the Arsenal game and how, City were battling, but City they were kind of like the embodiment of Bernardo Silva as captain. That kind of like scrapping and not giving anything up and aggravating the opposition, and it just kind of reminded you what a void there was last season when there should have been leadership. Yeah,
and I think that's maybe something that Bernardo himself touched on in that infamous Wembley mix zone when he said the one thing he'd learned last season was who he could go into battle with.
But they have all been out together this week. Because it was Manu Akanji's belated leaving do, and he invited Walker as well as pretty much the entire City team. So Walker has been out with most of the squad this week. So maybe that will.
Well, Roy Keane will be livid.
Maybe that will ease his return.
Yes, quite possibly. Haaland then got a bad back. Not trained this week. Are you triple captain him?
Trained yesterday.
Well, sorry, trained yesterday. Not trained until Huddersfield.
Yeah.
He did train yesterday. Are you triple captaining him?
If I bring Phil Foden in, I don't know if I will. I think I might just, bank on the...
Is that because you don't think he's going to play 90 minutes?
No, I think he'll play... Well, I don't think he'll play 90, but he's not played many 90s this season.
He's going to start.
I think he'll start. I think he'll play most of the game. I think he'll probably score. So he probably is a safe triple captain.
I've had a lot of questions from mates who pay normally no attention to City this week saying,
triple captain Haaland
fit? Yeah. Why are you interested in Haaland's fitness this week? That's not particularly normal.
But yeah, I mean, they're in a position already where they can't really afford to be dropping too many points. I think he'll start and play. But also, I think Pep would dearly love to make it 2 for 2 in the Champions League and sort of get that motoring. And so I think if there's an opportunity to not play him for 90 minutes and to keep him well rested for Monaco, then I think that will be the option taken.
You're kind of hamstrung with not having Marmoush available, aren't you? If Marmoush was fit, then maybe you'd start Haaland on the bench on.
You are, although, after midweek, maybe you go 2-0 up and you can put Macassar on. Or, Savinho can maybe play up front, or Doku can move up front, or Foden, yeah. So just keep flogging Foden. Yeah, I think they will. I think he'll start and play and score, but I don't think he'll play 90 minutes.
No, same here. Let's finish on James Trafford then. Going to be a strange occasion for him, isn't it? And he was fine at Huddersfield. He didn't really have a chance. I mean, if those are the games he's going to have to lay down a marker, then he's just not going to lay down a marker, is he? Because it's impossible for him to really
do anything. You just feel sorry for him, really. Pep got asked before the game, will he start? How's he been since Donnarumma? Oh, he's been unbelievable. He's been fantastic. He's training better than ever. Right, and will he be number one at City, do you think, ever? Oh, don't ask me that. Not sure.
It's very hard to work out how, innit?
And it's like, yeah, it is. Because it was anyway, but then they made so much about the fact of how young Donnarumma is and how he could be here for 10 years and everything. And you sort of, you just feel for Trafford. You know, I know Enzo Maresca thinks we're not supposed to feel for footballers, but
we just feel sorry for his dad instead.
Yes, yeah. When you think he'd have enough money to
stop being a fisherman,
help his dad stop working, but loves the job.
He's ruthless, isn't he?
Yeah, surprised he's not sort of replaced his dad with 3 other versions since his dad's now at Blue
His dad's in the bomb squad with his granddad.
Sorry, nothing personal against Enzo Maresca there. Just kind of spiraled.
It's a brutal takedown, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's me blocked. It's...
The thing with Trafford is, like, obviously he came up on this podcast I did last night, and I think when he signed, he's obviously sold. City, I think, are still going to be confident if in 12 months down the line, they sell him for the same fee or more and profit again on him.
Yeah.
But I think Trafford was clearly told when he came in, battle with Edison, you'll be long-term number one. If you'd have told him, come, sit on the bench, play 15 games in League and Cup, and we'll flip you for a profit in 12 months, he'd have probably signed for Newcastle, wouldn't he, let's be honest?
Yeah. I think he was basically told it was a matter of when rather than if, and when being could be very, very soon. He would be number one. And now it looks like he's only number one if Donnarumma suffers a serious injury and is out for the year, basically. It's just unfortunate these things happen in football, but I think it's not particularly. And I also don't love it when City are then championing, like, we've got 6 academy graduates in the starting 11 for Huddersfield. And it's like, yeah, you have, but you have brought one of them back thinking he was going to play a lot and be in the team a lot. And now he's, like you say, he's only going to be in the team for dead rubbers or cup games, basically, which feels a bit of a shame and a waste of the ability that Trafford has got. And also kind of, when he sat in, he will have had a World Cup dream, and he might be
third choice, but he's got no chance of being picked for, does he? But that role might be, the number one spot might be available after the end of the World Cup. I don't know how old Pickford is.
If it will, but go to a.
He's got to move next summer, hasn't he? Really, it's hard to see him having 2 years at City now. Like I say, he's going to be potentially flipped for a profit. Which is probably not the dream he had when coming back to City. So going to be an interesting occasion for him. We'll leave it there. Thank you very much for tuning in and listening and watching if you've watched on YouTube. Remember to leave us a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast if you're listening on an audio platform. Give us a like, review, all of that usual jazz. We'll be back on Monday. Not Simon, because I've already said he's not here. He's taking a day off. Disgusting on a podcast day. Shouldn't be allowed. Shouldn't happen. I'll be having a word with the editor, and hopefully that's the last we'll see of that business. But it'll be me and Alex James.
Or the last we'll see of me.
Or the last we'll see of you, potentially.
Yeah.
Can't rule it out these days,
It's
unfortunately.
been nice.
People have come and gone from this podcast before with barely a word, so let's not rule anything out. But yes, we'll be back on Monday. I think it'll be me and Alex James to discuss Burnley and look ahead to Monaco. But for now, thank you and goodbye.